Here we go again.
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing this?
Once more unto the breach, dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews and connections in mind. Men in Black International is directed by F. Gary Gray and stars Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, Liam Neeson, as well as a host of others. And this film is a reboot of the original Men in Black franchise. And this film focuses on a mole inside of the Men in Black community and the relationship between the partners H and M, namely Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, and as they navigate an alien mystery that has been given to them, as well as agents within their own organization trying to hunt them down while they're trying to solve this mystery. Now, this video review will contain spoilers of Men in Black International, as well as certain other films and TV shows. I'm going to put a full list in the description below. However, I'm going to do my spoiler-free review of the film first, before I get into any spoilers. Just a heads up, there will be spoilers later on in the video. So with that said, let's get into my spoiler-free thoughts on Men in Black International, and more importantly, does it hold up and whether or not you should see it in theaters. I would say this is definitely a miss on the part of Sony, and the as far as a continuation of the Men in Black franchise, I would say this is definitely not a great movie. I thought the great strength of the very first Men in Black from 1997, I believe, that the whole reason that movie worked was the chemistry Will Smith had with Tommy Lee Jones and his reacting to all of the alien stuff that's going on in the Men in Black community, and the fact that aliens exist, and there's the mystery that's going on with Vincent D'Onofrio's character, the Roach, and him trying to make Tommy Lee Jones' Agent K less of a hard ass, I guess, and there was just that great chemistry going on, as well as a simple yet engaging story underneath it. This story, however, the chemistry, I'm sorry to say, I had high hopes because Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson have worked together in the past, most notably Thor Ragnarok, and they worked really great as a pair of characters. They did really good in that film. This film, the chemistry was just not there. I think that has that's mainly the writing's fault. The way these characters are written, there's just not a lot of room for that, and since this is supposed to be a reboot and maybe a reintroduction of the world of Men in Black to a new audience, it really didn't do that good a job either, because the main character of this new reboot, namely Tessa Thompson, she already knows nearly everything about MIB, and that was part of the fun of the first one. As I said, you get an introduction to this world, and Will Smith's character acts as the audience character, where we get to know where everything's going on. We learn along with this character. Here, we don't really get that, and it's just kind of a generic action film at this point with a little bit of a sci-fi edge. That's about it. And Chris Hemsworth is just he's really just kind of one note throughout this whole film. And I'm also a big fan of Liam Neeson, and he doesn't have a whole lot to do in this film. Really, the only good part of this movie is at a certain point there's a tiny alien sidekick that they pick up along the way, and he has a couple of random funny lines, but other than that, that's about it. And there are certain things in this film that directly contradict things that were established in the first Men in Black, so it's not really doesn't fit really well into whatever universe continuity that they had going into this. So I really don't think this is a particularly good film. I don't think this is a particularly horrible film. I've seen far worse. It just feels particularly dull and lifeless. And when you go into this film as a fan of the Men in Black franchise, you expect a lot of energy going into this film. And this film just does not provide that. So if I was going to give it a letter grade, I'd say I'd call this a D+, honestly, and I would not recommend seeing this in theaters. If you're a fan of Men in Black and you want to do your own dissection of what happened with this film, I maybe see it when it comes out on demand or on physical media, get it from a Redbox somewhere, but yeah, this is definitely not a recommendation to go see this in theaters. So there you have it. Those are my spoiler-free thoughts on Men in Black International. Now, as I said before, we're going to get into some spoiler-filled analysis on Men in Black International, certain character developments and plot developments in this film that may have seemed familiar and where you may have seen them before. So the first thing that I have going into this is the character of Tessa Thompson's character M, the new character. She gets handed the weapon, the very powerful weapon that's capable of destroying solar systems from the one alien at the bar. As with his dying breath, she's entrusted with this alien power. And the rest of the movie focuses on her trying to keep this power out of enemy of people's hands who will do great evil with it and maybe even using it for good. This made me think of both the film, the 2011 Green Lantern film with Ryan Reynolds, where Ryan Reynolds' character, he gets Hal Jordan, he intercepts the previous owner of the Green Lantern ring on his with his dying breath, and he gets the ring, the Green Lantern ring, and then he becomes part of the Green Lantern Corps that way. Also, there's an episode in season 4 of Star Trek Enterprise when the Captain Archer and T'Pol are on Vulcan, and they encounter a Vulcan in the Forge, the Vulcan desert, and they're trying to find terrorists that have destroyed the embassy, the Earth embassy on Vulcan, and this Vulcan traveler that they meet, he gets hit by a electrostatic pulse, and he's on his deathbed, and he, unknown to Archer at the time, he's carrying the Katra of Surak, the Vulcan messiah, essentially, and the living essence, the spirit of Surak, and he transfers the Katra of Surak to Archer. And then the rest of that episode, the 3-episode arc, proceeds from there with the knowledge that he's been given this great responsibility that other people will kill to have on from a dying source there. So those are some comparisons to be made there. Another example of a plot arc that seemed familiar is the fact that the main villain of this story turns out to be High T, Liam Neeson's character, who, as it is revealed later on in Men in Black International, that he was part of this, he was taken over by the Hive, and he had, at certain points in the film, when they're discussing that Men in Black has a mole in there, and he's trying to cast suspicion off on himself, and he's essentially saying to both H and M that they not trust anyone, but it turns out the one saying that is the one who shouldn't have been trusted to begin with. That reminded me a lot of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where the character of Donovan, who, when letting the Indiana Jones onto the plane, and he's before heading to Venice, and he's basically saying, don't trust anyone. He's presented as a friend initially, but is revealed later on that he is in fact the villain of the story. So there's a similarity to be made there. And finally, there's this whole recurring story of M trying to figure out how H, who was a legendary agent in the MIB London branch, how he defeated the Hive in 2016, and he keeps saying the same exact thing over and over again, where it's something along the lines of, we defeated them with our wits and our Series 7 deatomizers or whatever, and he doesn't have any other details beyond that, and it's revealed that that was a neuralized memory, a conditioned response to that, from that neuralizing, and he in fact didn't beat the Hive on that day. This plot point of a main character's memory who's been altered, the main character who may have a legendary reputation around them, and they themselves don't know how they got out of certain situations. This whole arc of memory alterations, and the main characters trying to figure out how their memory is altered, discovering that their memory has been altered, and trying to fix that. Some examples of this throughout science fiction, and especially there's an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation from season 4, I believe, called Clues, in which an event happens that they think that they go through a wormhole and lose only 30 seconds of time, but they end up losing far more time than that, and they have to figure out what exactly happened during those events, and when they themselves don't know. There's the whole plot point in season 1 of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that has Phil Coulson have the conditioned response of him going to Tahiti and him saying it's a magical place, and him not knowing how exactly he came back to life from being injured and killed by Loki during the events of Marvel's The Avengers. And finally, there's another example in Stargate SG-1, season 1 episode Fire and Water, in which the team believes Daniel Jackson dead because they have a memory of it, but they have conditioned response not to go back to the planet and figure out that Daniel Jackson is in fact alive. So this whole plot point of main characters getting their memories altered and conditioned response to certain situations, asking about their altered memories, this plot point has been done in several instances. And there's just a few, to name a few. So those are my main points of comparison between Men in Black International and other things that have come before. But what did you think of Men in Black International? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about my analysis? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there anything that I missed? I don't know all the movies or TV shows, so I may have missed something. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next movie review, which will be for Toy Story 4. I'll be out next week. And also, if you're interested in TV reviews and reactions, I'll be posting my review and analysis of Season 3 of Jessica Jones, the final season of the Netflix Marvel Universe. So be sure to look for that. And if you like what you see here or anywhere else on my channel, please give me a like, share, and even a subscribe. I very much appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.